All right, welcome this evening. We are on live. We're going to work our way through tooling our first specialty pattern that we've come with in this tooling series that we've been doing. But we're going to work our way through the bucking horse. So I have a piece of leather cut out here. This is 8-9 ounce leather. I'm going to start right on with getting that wet down. Thank you for joining us tonight on here. We're not going to get all the way through the pattern in this one video. We're going to break this up into a couple of videos just because this is a little more of an intensive project, a little bigger pattern than what we've been tooling in some of our other videos. But if you have this pattern already and want to tool along with me, I invite you to do so. And if you don't have this pattern and are interested in getting it by the time we're done, we have the link posted for you right in the description there. All right. I'm going to wet that down. Hello. Appreciate you guys jumping on and joining me here. We're going to lay that pattern right in place. And once I got that where I want that to be, I'm just going to weight the corner of that down as I go through and transfer that pattern with my stylus here. And I'm gonna just kind of work my way through, covering all my lines here. If you have any questions as we're going tonight, please shoot those at me. Questions, comments, anything of the sort. I'll try to answer those as we're live here. And if you're watching on the replay, either here or on YouTube, go ahead and throw those questions or comments in there for me, and I'll try to catch up with them afterwards if you're not on here live. All right, Shannon, you're doing the barrel racer. That's awesome. We're gonna work our way through. We got this one to do. We got the chief to do. We'll tool the barrel racer as well. So I want to get all the patterns tooled up that we offer just to kind of show you my take on them, especially these specialty patterns. Are not your typical flow and things like that. We've kind of had to improvise just to fit the shape of what we're trying to do. So some of it can be a little confusing at first. I do enjoy seeing what you guys have built out of some of these specialty patterns too. I've seen people put them on rope cans and satchels and purses, and it's pretty neat to see. So hello, hi Bob, see you on there. I hope everybody's having a great weekend and staying plenty content in your distancing for the social distancing going on right now. All right, get around here. This is a little bit time consuming, just working through and transferring that pattern. Dan says we got another 30 days of the social distancing coming up, I guess, huh? Dan, how are you? I haven't seen you on in a while. Good to see you on here. drawing these specialty patterns is a little bit different. You kind of have to throw some of your typical rules and ways of thinking out the window and stick to just some of the good core fundamentals, but some of the extras go out the window just to make things look the right shape and stuff for what we're doing. I recommend laminating the pattern. So what I do is a cowboy lamination. This is just clear packing tape. So just a Scotch packing tape there, and I put that on the front and the back to help protect that. Now, one thing that I'm going to do different you'll notice if you do have this pattern, this area right in here where I've drawn that in, that's in case you don't happen to have the same size maker's mark as me. I run a maker's mark right there kind of as a brand on the back side of that horse. So I'm going to put that maker's mark on this one that I'm tooling as well, but that's why I have some shading right in that circle, and that's going to look a little different than what yours is going to wind up being if you're following along and doing this at the same time here. Just trying to catch up on comments there as I was reading there. A little mishap it sounds like for you, Clint. That's not good. There's a few spots that I'm missing. Try to keep track as you're going through. In your typical patterns that are more full circles in there, it's a lot easier to follow along and stay in the same spot and make sure you're getting all your lines. But a pattern like this, it kind of scoops out. I maybe recommend, I didn't necessarily do it here, but start kind of at his head and come back and follow all those vine works working back. But I'm going to just have a peek here to see where we're at. Now this spot here is open because we're going to put that maker's mark in there. Looking good. I'm missing the line up in here and down in that head. So, okay. Yep, that looks a little better up through there and down in here. Need to come along. Fill this in. Need to make a bull rider pattern. Yeah, Bob, I do. That's kind of been on the list. I just haven't gotten that done yet, but I think a good classic bull riding pattern would be really good on here. Okay. Double checking, making sure getting everything. Looks I think we have all of our lines. Like I say, it's always good just to take a second, double check, make sure before you move that away all the way. Okay, we're going to call that good. I think we got them all. If I find any as we're going, we can fill in. But the first thing I'm going to do before I start making my cuts, so I can see what's happening here, I'm going to come in and get my maker's mark put in place so I can draw my cuts from there. Get myself reading for comments and missing my knife as I'm grabbing there. Okay, now I'm gonna start running our cuts. Now, just same as any other pattern that we've been talking about. Still want to go for nice smooth lines and fading those out as we go. That maker's stamp, Clint, was Steel Stamps Incorporated. I believe they're in Nampa now, but Tim Purdy with Steel Stamps Incorporated. Oh, that's what's hitting my actual leather's coming back and hitting our camera. Try not to bounce that on you too bad. I'm just going to start to kind of work my way down here. Try not to spin this pattern too much on you. Kind of when I go these long lines like that, so you can see I almost kind of lock that wrist as I pull. Helps me keep a nice smooth line. Now I'm going to improvise a little bit because I'm trying to hold this in place to where I don't, Dan says spin if you have to. I'm going to try not to spin around too much on you guys just for video quality purposes. So I'm going to do a little bit of improvising when it comes to some of that stuff. But I'm going to wind up having to spin it at least once. I think what I'll do is I'm going to come pull all the lines that I can from this direction, and then we'll spin it around one time. Now, one thing to notice too is you can see where I'm not connecting some of these points. I'm also not running right into other cuts. I try to hold those back a little bit to not create weak spots or points that'll lift up as you're going. Once we get to beveling and tooling those out, we'll connect them when we bevel, and they'll all come together, and you won't notice that, but it just helps for the kind of the integrity of your leather, especially if it's a project where there's going to be a lot of movement in it. Wallets where you're in and out of pockets, those definitely, you don't want any loose points that are going to pick up and grab over time. Appreciate you guys taking your time to watch this and jump on here with me. typically do any videos on Sundays, but I thought we're gonna be starting in on one of these bigger patterns. Might be a day that I have a little bit more time just to hang out and get a new project started here. All right, coming down onto that front foot. Anytime you have a pattern that's layered like this and things are going over and under, it's important to look at like this line here where it's coming up and curves, but I want to see where it's picking up at underneath there, so that where I go under at, if that line was to continue, it would be where it picks up at. Now here it comes at a curve, so I curve, follow that, okay, pick it up. Now, I'm going to start turning this a little bit as we go. We'll just turn it kind of all the way upside down for a minute. Boy, that really changes the look of it, right? When you're not looking at it right side up, it just looks like a big old jumbled mess. Alright, for you guys that are on here live, I'm curious, with all the social distancing and the extra time at home, has anybody got anything done and accomplished that they maybe wouldn't have without all the extra time at home? Like something positive that's came out from it? Well, it's easy to look at all the negative points of something like the current situation going on, but sometimes it's good just to look at some of the good positive things that come out of it too. Dan, you're still essential, so you're still going. Got shop painted, mudroom done. Oh, man. Getting a bit of leather work done, John. Good. That's what I like to hear. Seems like quite a few people are able to spend a little more time in their shop. People still working. Oh yeah, getting some tooling done. Good. Yeah, it's fun to kind of see some of those extra projects. I'm curious too, is anybody actually tooling along with me on this or plans to? Anybody gonna get this pattern tooled up and put it on something cool? Or even if you're not tooling this pattern up, if you were going to tool it up and build something with it, what would you put it on? What would be the project of choice that you guys would put a tooled bucking horse on? Hope you guys going to try it. Good. Oh yeah, Josh, purse overlay. Oh, the back of a jean jacket, man, that's a good idea too. Rope can, briefcase, gear bag. Some of these vines in here, like you can see, get kind of long and spindly. Another one stays pretty fat all the way up through there. And so with these patterns, I kind of had to really go against some of the main flow rules, just as far as the sizing and things like that, to try to make that pattern look the way it's supposed to and build those legs in and things like that. Wow, do I make wallets? I have made wallets. No, I'm not taking any orders on wallets. The only thing I'm taking orders on are belts right now. Oh, you already got plans for the bull rider, huh, Bob? Perfect. All right, let's move right on here. Let's see how we're hour. I want to start looking a little bit at beveling, and that looks like a big mess of lines at this point, right? And if you're not used to looking at this pattern or seeing, it could look like a big rat's nest and not sure where to go. And that's why when you get a chance, refer back to this sheet here. That should be included in the download. But if you have that printed off, it can at least help to look at which way to bevel some of the different lines when you see something coming around. But without this, I'm gonna start just looking at things, and we can start figuring it out as we go, so you can see how to figure that out and where to look to bevel at. But the real easy part is going to be everywhere on the outside, right? Because everything else is going to push back behind there. So we can follow along these outside lines and get everything beveled back away. So we're going to take that first step on this part one of tooling this bucking horse out. See, and by starting on the outside, it's gonna start bringing you in that pattern a little bit, because once I start on this line and come around, I'm never gonna stop right there to come back that way. That line's gonna continue beveling the same way all the way until it's done. Okay, there'll be a couple more examples of that as we roll through our pattern here. But now this line here, it's an outside line, but it comes and runs into this line, right? So we'll just bevel that line, and then we'll come up and bevel this one all the way down. So we connect those points as we bevel right out there on the end. Okay, I'm going to shift this, and we'll get this outside line beveled. Now this same strategy of beveling is going to work on any of your patterns. If you're not sure which side of the lines to bevel on, step number one is going to be going around the outside. Again, that one actually carries me in here, but it's an outside line. Okay, let's look at our next outside line. This one here. And it comes and runs into that, so we can just bevel that whole line nice and even all the way out. Okay, working around, here's my next outside line right here. And that's just where we kind of make up the arm, the free arm of that guy. We're gonna run here, and then it continues in, so I can follow that in there. Just fade that up where it has the fold over in it. Okay, this next outside line. Now right here, this outside line, it's going to take me all the way in here, but it continues, so I can continue that on. Yeah, you guys are asking about bevels there and what we got. This here is a XX steep checkered bevel from Barry King, size 2. Again, there's some mix-up in some earlier videos. I was saying it was a size 0, but the 0 is actually my small one, and this one is the 2. There's also a steep bevel option at Weaver Leather. It's not quite the quality as the Barry King, but it's a little more inexpensive to get started in. So this outside line, because it was outside, went, rolled right around, and it's carrying me all the way around on the inside of his hat here. Okay, again, this outside line here. if you guys opt for the Weaver option, you can save a little bit more money using the promo code Joe10 on there as well. Bob, I like the checkered. I run checkered bevels on all my bevels actually. This one appears to be smooth. I know in what you can see there, but it is actually checkered. It's just been worn down, and it's kind of smooth right there at the tip. And being so steep, and it's pretty fine checkering on there, so you don't see a whole lot of the checkering from a distance. But it helps grab my antique when we finish that out. Okay, looking. John, you looked at Weaver and didn't find it. I'll have to look for a part number on there, or a piece number, and share that with you. Okay, this outside line here, so it's still the perimeter. Now right here under the brim of his hat, this one's going to carry me in towards the middle of the pattern, but that is still an outside line once we turn that way, right? Continue that line on. Okay, I think we got this long, big line here, top of that guy's arm and his bronc crane. Get up here, start working around. That's going to be the mane of that horse and his head. Still just working on the perimeter lines. We're able to figure out which way some of these lines bevel. Okay, again, working on that outside. Right there, that line's going to carry all the way through up here, but we'll fade it all the way up. Now, any of your lines that end in the middle of a vine like this, we're going to fade those out where we faded with our knife, light. Hear that difference in the bevel? Fade out to nothing there as you go up. Okay. Again, another outside line here. This is another one that's going to carry me up into his neck there. Fade that out. Now again, we're getting down here where it looks like kind of a mess. but we're gonna just continue working through just our outside lines and picking up wherever those carry in at. I did see one line that I missed here with my knife. Okay, this one here actually carries all the way across there. Turn that around a little bit as we're going. Shannon, you couldn't find it on Weaver? Well, check it out and try to get you guys a part number on that. I'm gonna turn this on you again. Normally I would just hit everything that I can reach from one direction, but for the sake of what we're doing here, we're just trying to work all the way around this perimeter with all these lines and picking them up as we go. Pattern this kind of this big and this complex, we're going to break the videos up a little bit, but getting it cut in and getting this perimeter beveled is going to be a great first step to getting this started. See, now here's another line that's carrying us back towards the middle of that pattern a little bit. Just going to help us see more of the lines as we go. Trying to figure out one of these patterns, if it's not just a specialty pattern, but any tooling patterns that you're not exactly sure where to bevel at. It's kind of like putting a puzzle together when you're figuring it out, because we can do little things like this as far as starting with that outside line and working our way, and we'll start piecing it together, saying, okay, well, this line is coming through, and that makes you fade that through to there. Then it's going to help us start seeing other ones as we move along there. Oh, Dan, you shared this in that group. Thank you. Appreciate that. That is a great group there as well. If any of you guys aren't members in there and you are leather toolers, be sure to check out Dan's group there, and Dan will probably be kind enough to comment with a link to that group in the comments of this video here, where you can check that out if you'd like to. Oh yeah, if you're requesting to be in that group, Dan says to mention that you heard about the group on this video. So this is a line that you wouldn't see in most of your traditional patterns, as it's coming and curves one way and turns back with no actual real foldovers. It just winds through there. But again, to make what this pattern is, we just have to bend the rules a little bit on that. But here's one that started as an outside line, but it carried us all the way through. Because that line continues, we can bevel it all the way without switching directions on it. I sure appreciate you guys all taking your time to join live here tonight. And feeding in and giving me your input there. Curious on if you were going to be tooling this pattern and putting it on a project, what that project would be. Seeing some great ideas there so far. Oops. Hit the camera. Okay, this is another line that's really going to help us because it's going to go both ways into that pattern. So we'll come this way first. That's going to fade in here to a little tight turnover. I'm not going to try to get around there with this big bevel. We'll wait till I come back with my round bevel to get in where it's really tight there, because that's a pretty small fold over, but once we get it detailed out, it looks pretty cool. So we can take just that little mess of lines right there. Once we get done tooling, it's going to turn into that back leg coming around there. Okay, carry that line on up here. And this is another line that's ending in the vine works. We're going to fade it out. Question, which is better, quartz or marble for tooling? And do you have a pad under it? No pad under it. This is actually a big old huge block that I'm working on here. And, you know, I am not super knowledgeable about the types of rock. Marble, granite, quartz. Something that's hard. You're wanting to take away the bounce is why I wouldn't just do this on a wood table. But other people on here are welcome to comment back to John there if you happen to know any difference on the marbles. Again, marble, granite, find anything that's hard that takes your bounce out as far as I'm concerned. I know some people that didn't have that getting started, so they went out on their front patio there and sat down sitting on the ground and did their leather work on the concrete steps. So, and that seemed to get the job done for as far as the no bounce, but not the most ideal of shop situations, but people have done it. So yeah, just thick and heavy, it keeps that bounce away. I don't know, I have a handful of different stones in here, and they're probably all different for all I know. Okay. Turn that back right side up. But now we're starting to take some shape in there. Once that's cut in, and again, all the places that we've beveled here have just been by starting on our outside border and working around. Because any line that comes through, once you start beveling on one side of it, it can continue on. We're not going to switch sides on those lines. So that was able to get us started here and start seeing the shape in those back legs. Got around our front legs, and that mane's starting to take shape there. But from there, in the next video, we'll be able to come in and start piecing together, and I'll show you how we can put the puzzle together and figure out which side of which lines to bevel on, and then we'll actually do what I recommend as something to do if you're just starting out, is to start putting your background spaces in, and we'll actually bar ground this first after we get done beveling before we do the details on there. But that's going to just help it make a lot more sense and easier to see. So I want to be able to walk you through this, showing you again just the same principles. So all the same techniques that we've been doing on your simpler patterns, the ones out of the book. All the patterns in the book are really designed for the beginning leather crafter in mind. But this is a lot more intimidating when you look at this pattern. But I want to break these videos down and show you how, just starting, taking it one line at a time, we can work through this. And even as a beginner, you can get this pattern tooled up, and we can take it from that line art through our steps one at a time and wind up at our finished product. So thank you guys for joining me here for part one. We will continue on with this, and we're going to take this pattern all the way to a finished tooled piece. So thank you guys for joining. Again, any questions, be sure to point those out in here, and I will try to address those. And feel free to share this out if you find any value in it or entertainment, one or the other. So thank you guys again. We will catch you next time.